16th September 1999, 25 years ago, my life changed. I broke my neck and I got given 5% chance of using my arms and legs, and I had 2 major operations. I didn't realise at the time the impact a spinal cord injury would have on my life. I didn't understand the seriousness of it, physically and mentally. I even said to my football manager at the time, I'll be back on the pitch by Christmas. There was never going to be any chance of that, really, if I think about it now. But in my head, that's what I thought would happen. I just didn't understand what a spinal cord injury was, really. Even though the doctors tried to explain it the best I can, I didn't get it. I spent 8 months in hospital learning to be a human being again. And when I think about hospital safe, when I came out of hospital, that was when the real challenge started. I was absolutely lost, physically and emotionally. I didn't know how to act. I didn't know who to be. I got given a large compensation package, and I'd never dealt with money before. I'm not from money, I'm working class, from a brilliant family. All of a sudden I was like, I didn't know how to be. I didn't know who I wanted to be. I had no purpose. Before my accident, I think I was never the greatest at school, but I think I'd have ended up working for my uncle in a factory, and I think I'd have been happy with that. I think my life would have been quite set, really. And I think I'd have stayed in my hometown of Bridlington. I don't think I'd have moved away. But the accident just changed everything. As I've got older now, I get it. I do understand it. But back then I didn't understand why my body wouldn't do what I wanted it to do. And I abused my body, I really did. And I went out and drank an awful lot, I was out a lot, but I just wanted to fit in with being an 18-year-old, I suppose, but not understanding the impact it was actually having on me physically and mentally. But fast forward a lot of years, I did a challenge in 2018 called Everest. And this was me climbing the equivalent of Mount Everest over 8 months, the same amount of time I actually spent in hospital learning to be human again and learning to walk again. And this challenge was to take on the whole highest peaks in the country over 8 months. A point of it was, I wanted to find my breaking point. Nothing's ever broken me when I look back at the depression that I went through, the anxiety I went through. Me wanting to, having like horrible thoughts in my head, but it didn't actually break me. I did come through it. It was a long journey, but I got through it. It didn't break me. And part of Everest was, let's find my breaking point. Let's see what is actually going to break me. And it didn't. I went and I climbed the Yorkshire Three Peaks, Helvellyn, Skidder, Snowdon, times on Rosebery Topping, and I ended on Ben Nevis. And I had 8 months of training, and I loved it. And I actually proposed to my wife on top of Ben Nevis, and I had this beautiful moment on top, and there's a lovely picture of me and her with the sun behind us, and it was amazing. And I always said, never go back there. And this year, I actually returned to Scarfell Pike. I did Scarfell Pike in 2019, which was the 20th anniversary of my accident. And I went back this year and did it again, but did another mountain on top of it. And I just mentioned to the lads, it's the 25th anniversary in September, and they said, well, we can only go do one thing, and that was return to Ben Nevis. I always said I would never do that. So we did this year. The Saturday, the 14th, I thought, right, let's go do it. So we drove up, and mentally, I had quite a lot of anxiety. I didn't have enough training. I've, you know, since I've done all the other stuff, you know, I'm a busy counsellor, and I haven't had time to train. And for the last, I don't know, 3-4 weeks before Ben Nevis, I did actually get out on a concrete bank. I worked hard trying to prepare my legs for it. But when I stepped foot on that mountain that day, there was a bit of anxiety going up to it, to be honest. I'd messaged the lads saying I'm anxious about this. And the weather was terrible. The weather was absolutely shocking. And just driving to Ben Nevis, the rain was coming down, and when we pulled up into the car park, there was a massive charity event going on. I've never stepped foot on a mountain before thinking, I can't do this. My head just wasn't in the game, and my body just didn't feel right. Maybe it was the drive. You know, it's been 6 years since I've done it before. A lot's happened in those 6 years with my body. I've been struggling with my knee, and accepting that there is more wear and tear. The way I do walk, it is going to have an effect on me, which before I didn't take into consideration. But within 100 foot on that mountain, I wanted to give up. I was sweating like mad within the first not even half a mile, and I wanted to give up. And in my head I was thinking, just turn back now. And if you go down now, you can go sit and let them carry on, and you'll be fine. And as we're going up, there were people coming down saying Mountain Rescue, turning people away from the charity event, saying, "No, you're on summits here. We can't let you go on," because the weather conditions were going so bad. I kept going. Everything in my body that day was telling me just to give up, and I just kept going and going. It seemed a lot harder and longer than it was the previous time. The problem with Ben Nevis is it's just like a long slog. There's nothing technical on it, but it just doesn't seem to end. And obviously we knew this weather was drying in a bit later, but going up, it was okay. But I was noticing that I was needing more stops. Normally I can just keep going, but this time I was having to stop, re-get my energy, have a drink, and then just go again. But I was noticing that I was stopping a lot more. My dad once gave me some great advice about the mountain's always there another day. You know, that you've not completed the mountain until you get off it safely. It's pointless touching a trig point if you don't get off that mountain safely. And that's always stuck in my head. And we got told that these winds were coming in off this other mountain and they were due to hit. And I'm very fortunate that I've got a group of people that come up the mountain with me, and I call them my Sherpas, and they get me up that mountain. They get me up and down that mountain safely. But I take into consideration their families as well as my own, and they do get me off. And I don't want to put them in dangerous scenarios because of my stubbornness of just trying to touch that trig point on this day when I knew my body couldn't take anymore, and I knew that they were going to get me off the mountain. I basically hold onto their bag and I follow their feet, and they're those, but I'm getting them off the mountain as well in my head, their safety. And I take that into consideration. I don't take it for granted. And that plays on my mind because I think we've got to get off this mountain. The wind was so bad. I was watching able-bodied men getting blown over. It felt like I was just getting needles in my face constantly. And they had their hoods open. You could just see this bit. If I have my hood up, I'll lose my sense of bearings. I really struggle with it. So I was having to, in these horrible conditions, still keep my face kind of out as much as I could. There was certain bits where I tried to put it up, but I couldn't do it because my balance just goes. And the amount of, it was agony. And I got to just short of 3,000 foot. and I knew I wasn't something. I knew from the bottom I wasn't something that day, if I'm being completely honest. I knew I wasn't something. And I already had excuses in my head, and I was constantly beating myself up. I was furious with myself. Failure. What I'm going to say to people, I'm embarrassed. But I got to 3,000 foot, just 10 foot short of 3,000 foot, and I called it. I couldn't do any more. My legs, my back, everything had just gone. My head had gone, and I hit the breaking point. I was completely done. And something happened on that mountain. I go off and I say to all the people that come and see me, hiking is my freedom. That's where I feel most when I'm getting something. And I don't think about the people that come and see me. I completely switch off from work. It's so good for me. That day I couldn't switch off. I was thinking, I'm working next week. How the hell am I going to work? How the hell am I going to give people sat in front of me 100%? Which I've never done before. I've always thought, no, I'll be fine. And this time it just felt different. I couldn't switch off from them. And the weather was just getting worse. We were up to between 50 and 70 mile an hour winds. And I got to a point, and I've got some great people that gone mountains with me, and they let me call it. They were pushing me on, but I think they knew I wanted something in. And I called it. I hit my breaking point. I was completely done. And like I said, going on the mountains is usually my way of freeing my head. But I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to put myself in danger anymore. I don't want to be challenging myself. I always thought I need a challenge. And like I said, I've had this injury now for 25 years. I'm noticing that I need physio more. My life's changed. I'm working. I have purpose. I still want to get out and do hikes, but I don't want to train. I don't want to spend months training to go touch a summit and reach that summit. My summit's changed. My trig points have changed. I don't want to be that. I was the first spinal cord injury walker to complete the National 3 Peaks, which I'm really, really proud of. But I've had time to reflect, just to not make a hasty decision of going, do I still want to do it? Or has the bad weather just got to me, and that's my reaction of, no, I don't want to do this anymore. But no, I don't. I've had a good time to sit on it, and I'm really proud of what I'm really proud of what I've achieved. I feel like I've done a lot of the big famous mountains in the UK, and I've only ever had 2 days, I think. It's been really nice weather. I've really put myself through it, and I don't want to do that anymore. So I know what my breaking point is. I really have hit my breaking point. But these 25 years of having the spinal cord injury, I won't change it. The depression was horrible. And it's been hell some of the times, but it's who I am. My spinal cord injury has given me a purpose of wanting to help people. Trust me, having a spinal cord injury can be absolutely frustrating as hell when my body doesn't want to, it seems to give in on times where I don't want it to, and I'm learning to say no, and dealing with spasms, dealing with bowels and bladder issues and everything else that comes with it, constant neck pain with headaches and the pain I'm in every day. That some people say that I mentioned, but I don't know if I mentioned too much. I don't know what the future looks like for me. What can I do another 25 years without being in a wheelchair? They said I'd been in a wheelchair at 40, I'm 42, I'm not. But I am really proud of these 25 years. I'm really proud of my spinal injury, which may seem strange to say, but it's given me everything, really. It's given me so much. But yeah, breaking point finally happened. I thought I'd be annoyed at that, but I'm not. I'm really pleased, because it's changed my outlook. So I just wanted to say thank you for everybody who supported me over 25 years, and on to what the next 25 looks like, and see how it goes.